everyone, and welcome to this week's sermon prep. As we are approaching the fifth Sunday in Easter, the Easter season is unfortunately going towards its end, and most of us, we began high in that Easter spirit, and slowly it's starting to calm down and slowly beginning to find its end. And our readings for this Sunday, as we're in year C, fifth Sunday of Easter in year C. Our first reading is from the Acts of the Apostles, chapter 14, verses 21 to 27. Our psalm is from Psalm 145, while the second reading is from the book of the Revelation, chapter 21, verses 1 to 5. And the Gospel is John chapter 13, verses 31 to verses 35, taken from those different verses. Now, when we look at the first reading, we find Paul and Barnabas going out and starting to build new communities. They are starting things anew. The death of Christ allows them to begin or to bring in something new faith to the people. And we see those many cities that they visited and started churches there and preached the gospel, and people came to conversion. They say that they appointed elders in those churches that they formed with prayer and fasting, and they committed them to the Lord, all those who believe. It's a missionary journey. They go out, they preach, they convert. This new way that they've found, this new Lord that they had found, this new belief that had come about. And people are accepting it, and the number of people are growing. But what is even better is that it's not just the Jews who are turning to the faith. Gentiles, people who were thought to be outside of salvation, to be outside the faith, people who were thought that there's nothing really new or anything good that they bring into the faith, they are converting as well. They are becoming one family, one big new community, people of God, from every race and from every people and nation. They come together and accept this message of Jesus Christ. Our second reading from the book of Revelation, John is still at Patmos, and here he says that he sees now a new heaven and a new earth. For the old heaven and the old earth had passed away. It says the sea was no more. And he gets this vision of Jerusalem coming down from heaven. It says it was prepared, it was adorned as a wife prepares himself for her husband. And then there was this great voice that says that, behold, God is now living within his people. One translation is going to say the tabernacle of God is amongst God's people. He will dwell with them, and he will be their God, and they will be his people. And John says he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. It's a sort of consolation for us who are still this side, for us who are still in this whole old earth, as it were, that the cryings that we cry now, that the tribulations that we experience now, that the difficulties that we are experiencing now, when we get into that new heaven and that new earth, God will wipe away every tear from our eyes. Death will be no more. Death will be swallowed up. We'll be living forever for and with God. There'll be no more crying and there'll be no more pain. And that's what we look forward to as we go into that new heaven, into that new earth, into that new family of believers, into that new way of existing. And from our Gospel, John chapter 13, verses 31 to 35, Jesus says, I give you a new commandment, that you love one another even as I have loved you. And it says that it's by this that people will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So the only proper way that a Christian should be identified, the only proper way that you and I should give testimony to our faith is by love. It's by how much we love. And that's how Christ says we are going to be seen to the world. That's how people will know that we are his disciples, by the love that we have for one another. You can see that there's a lot of news then. The theme of the Sunday might be starting anew. When we see in the first reading the forming of the new churches, in the second reading we hear about the new heaven and the new earth. And Christ in our gospel is giving us a new commandment. And it's a commandment. Christ doesn't say it would be good if you loved one another, or that it would be nice if you showed love to one another. He says, I command you to love one another. We don't have an option when it comes to that. We have got to love. And so that's what we'll be looking at as we come to Mass this coming weekend, the first Sunday of Easter. And we hope to see you there with all our Masses. Be safe, be holy, and have a blessed one. Take care. Bye-bye.